Today on the Girl Defined Show, we are talking about L is for the way you look at me. Okay, it is the season of love, and this always brings with it a million different emotions, whether you are single or married. I always thought Valentine's Day would be the most magical, the most amazing once I got married, and me being kind of the, sinner I am, I guess. I started to put so many expectations on this day. Now that I am married or now that, I'm in a relationship, this must be the day. And then you can't even enjoy it because you have so many expectations on the day. So this is going to be a really fun episode. We're going to share all about some highs, some lows from our dating, from our marriage. So whether you are single or married, get ready to laugh and cry and just know that you're not alone on this day of love, however it is that you are feeling.
Hey everybody, I'm Kristen.
And I am Bethany.
We're so glad you're joining us for this Valentine special because we love talking about all things womanhood, and that includes married women stuff, single women stuff. We are all about biblical womanhood, which is something every single one of us can learn about and grow in because we're all women, right? Yes. We're gathering here as the sisterhood. We're passionate about the freedom and beauty that is found within God's design. And we thought it would be really fun to do a super down to earth, a girl chat, hangout time, pretend like we're all just sipping yummy coffee, hanging out and having a really hilarious and somewhat meaningful conversation as we talk about, should I sing again?
I only have one song in me.
Yes, but some of you, for our single or not yet married sisters, maybe you're dating, maybe you're engaged, but you're not yet married. Maybe you're totally single and you're like, I don't even know if I want to get married, or you're single and you're like, I'm wishing I had a ring on that finger. Oh. We have a resource that we wrote specifically for you. And the coolest thing I love about this book, Love Defined, Embracing God's Vision for Lasting Love and Satisfying Relationships, is that when we wrote it, Bethany was 100% single.
Oh, I was in the desert land.
Not even knowing if she would ever get married, but you had come to a place at this point in time when we wrote this book where you were thriving in your singleness. You still desired marriage. It wasn't that you didn't want it, but you were thriving in God's season for you, his timing for you. Yeah. And I was married when we wrote this book. And so sharing from kind of a married's perspective, we think it's all going to be perfect on the other side of the aisle, but the real struggles, the joys, the challenges, kind of my journey in my relationship with Zach to the altar, what that looked like, that whole dating journey. So this is a book for all of our not yet married sisters. I think you will find it so incredibly encouraging. You'll have some really good laughs, maybe a few small cries, and a ton of encouragement in our book, Love Defined.
Well, and the married people are probably like, what's in it for me?
What's in it for me?
Okay, let's each quick recommend a resource for the married.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I actually created one. This is the first one that came to mind. Okay. I did create one with my husband. It's called 150 Questions to Strengthen Your Marriage. And I created this as a resource now as a married woman, because I did get married, to help create those conversations and to help grow closer to one another. Because sometimes you get past dating and then you get married and you're like, you see those couples at dinner on their phone because they're like, we have nothing else to talk about. So that's why we created this guide. I'll link it below because it's not on the Girl Defined shop page.
Oh, wow.
It's just on BethanyBeal.com. But that's a resource that I created as a married woman to help other married couples grow in their relationship.
That's awesome.
I'll recommend my own resource.
Okay. Well, one that came to mind for me is the book, Finding the Hero in Your Husband.
Oh, that's a
by
good
Dr.
one.
Julie Slattery. She just came out with a new edition. I had read her original book years ago when she first came out with it, so long ago. And we're friends with her, and I remember telling her a long time ago, please update it. It's so good. Yes. But it's kind of outdated, the cover, and I just don't think people know how good it is. And then I was so excited when I saw her email, a year ago or whatever, saying that she was coming out with a new edition. And it's beautiful. You can find it everywhere. Finding the Hero in Your Husband. I'm currently reading it right now. It's a great one. It's just kind of a different twist on our perspective as wives in the marriage and how we can influence our husbands and encourage them in ways maybe we haven't thought of.
Yes.
So there you go. Also, I have some other resources, some downloadables here in my hand. If you're watching, you'll see these. If you're listening, I'm holding something called the Christian Girls Breakup Survival Guide. And I hate to bring a broken heart. There's a broken heart on this picture here. But the truth is, I've been through breakup. You've been through some really hard breakups. I know a lot of you have. And the way we go through a really hard breakup can often determine how we come out on the other side, how we view relationships from that point forward, how we trust people, how we navigate, even when we get married, it can build some bad habits if we don't navigate it properly. So this survival guide will be a really big encouragement to you. And it's actually a free resource that you can get when you become a patron over on patreon.com/girldefined. What is that? You may have heard us talk about it. Basically,
what is that?
If you like lattes, if you like coffee, if you like tea, and you're like, yes, I spend $4 to $5 a month on that. maybe more, but I could spare one coffee or one tea. That's what you're doing. You're supporting us with $4 or $5 a month on patreon.com to help us make these kind of shows, this content, to bring it into the world so you can be encouraged by it. And as our way of saying thanks, every month we create new instant downloadable resources. And this is just one of them, the Christian Girls Breakup Survival Guide. Also, 136 questions to ask in a relationship. So this is before you're married to ask in a dating relationship. Maybe you're engaged. You're like, yeah, there's a lot of questions we haven't gone through.
These are really good.
They're fire. They are like fire. And we'll give you these for free, including like dozens of others over at patreon.com/girldefined.
Okay, so this is going to be a fun episode and really personal, and it's just going to be like, I don't know, hilarious and having you laugh and having you cry, because we all just need that around Valentine's Day. We just need
we need a cry.
No, we need like some humor and we need some emotion and we need some feeling and we just need like
bring it down a notch. Bring it down a notch.
So we're going to ask each other these questions, and I want to know if you relate to any of these or if you can answer these yourself. So if you are listening on like Spotify or Apple, head on over to our Instagram page at Girl Defined and leave your comments there. That's where we'll discuss.
Please, I want to hear what you have to
say. YouTube, head on over to afterward to our Instagram at Girl Defined, because I really want to know your answers to these questions as well. So Kristen, taking you back to your single days.
Bum, 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 bum.
What is your worst Valentine's Day memory as a single woman?
Oh, we have to go to the worst one. I'll be honest, like they were all pretty bad for me.
Really?
I didn't have a great perspective early on.
How many did you have as a
So I got married at 24. So 23 Valentines? No, probably 20.
Dating.
Oh, you're right. Of course. Okay, yes.
Like, wow, you just got married so fast.
So maybe 22 years of, I don't even know, maybe. Okay, but the one that just popped into my head that, I don't know, there's probably worse ones, but this was just like an awkward one. So I was working at this bookstore at the time, and there was this guy that I was not interested in, but a friend of mine was extremely interested in him.
I forgot about this.
You're already laughing.
This is hilarious.
I don't think it was funny for her at the time. Maybe she's laughing now. I think she's married. And anyways, so she really liked this guy. I did not like him at all. And we're both working at this bookstore. And here he comes in on Valentine's Day carrying a huge batch of roses.
Red roses.
He comes in the front and everyone's like, all the girls in the back are like, oh, look who came in, but we don't know why he's there. No one knows. And I just happened to be in the front at that time. And my friend who really was crushing on him was in the back. And so she's, excited thinking maybe it's for her. And I don't, I'm not knowing anything. And then he comes up to me and then gives me the roses and tells me that he just wanted to wish me a happy Valentine's Day. He doesn't really ask me out at that point. It's just like, kind of the smile and like, here you go. And I just remember him walking out. No, I knew my friend was in the back. I knew she saw what happened. And I'm holding these roses like, what am I going to do? I have like 10 seconds to come up with some sort of response or, it's just so awkward. It's just the worst. And so, there was a bit of a confrontation between the two of us, my friend and I, because she was so disappointed and was kind of like, what? But I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't ask for this. I don't want this. Here, take the roses. You can have them. It was just a terrible thing. And I was really glad when that day was over.
Okay, that is the worst when you and a friend, like, they really like someone or you really like someone and then he goes after the other. Like,
if it had been a sister, that would have been even worse. I have to say, but it was still really bad. And the fact that she was there when it happened, it was just like,
I remember that now, but I remember how awful.
Okay, what about you though? Your worst.
Well, I'm just still living in that terrible memory. Oh my goodness. Okay, so probably the worst for me was that I had so many of them.
No, not you too.
I had so many.
Oh, so many. How many Valentines? Single Valentines?
So many. Like, it was weird because I had been in some dating relationships, but oddly enough, they always like ended or started after Valentine's Day. So I think maybe in the 30 years before I got married, it's like I think I had one where I was actually in a relationship until
that's weird.
Because Dave and I's relationship started and we got started dating and got married all within a year. So we had one Valentine's Day where we were dating and then the next one we were married. So I remember many Valentine's days.
And you got married at 30.
Yeah.
Just for people who don't know.
So I think as much as I was excited and joyful and content, the older I got, the worse it would kind of like you'd really have to work hard to have that joy and that excitement, because on that day, more and more of your friends are now celebrating with their boyfriends or with their husbands. And you start to feel kind of like a kid, like, oh, all of these, they're like the grown women and they have their man. And I'm over here like, what am I going to do on
They're like in the big leagues and you're in the minor leagues, but it's.
Yes. It's kind of like, on holidays when you're not married, you get put at the kids table and you're like, I'm 30. And they're like, sorry, not married, kids table for you. It's kind of like that on Valentine's Day. It's like you're at the kids table, but you're like, but I'm a grown woman and I'm even older than some of you. So I totally relate, especially to those of you who feel that way. Like, I don't want to be at the kids' table anymore. I don't want to be the kid on Valentine's Day. I just want to be like a grown woman and with someone. So my heart goes out to you. And that's probably my worst experience is looking back year after year after year and starting to add them up going, darn it. Like, I thought things would be different by now.
Oh, okay. Was there a best Valentine's Day? Like, was there ever one as a single woman where you were like, okay, that was actually pretty fun.
Okay, so this is going to be the most hilarious thing ever. I actually posted this on my Instagram. I have to reshare this somehow so y'all can see. Okay, so it was when I had a huge crush on my husband, Dave. It was the February of the year we started dating, but we didn't start dating until October. So imagine several months before we started dating. And I think he liked me, but nothing was going to happen for a while. I really liked him. And so he and a couple, this is the most awkward story.
She can't even get it out.
I don't even know if you know this one.
I don't know.
So we started hosting an incredible Valentine's Day party each year. And once you got married, you weren't allowed to come anymore. So it was only for people that were single or dating. And so I am in charge of leading all the games and making this an incredibly fun. And we would just try to make it super hilarious and awkward. And it really was a highlight of Valentine's Day because I had something so fun to look forward to, knowing that me and all these other people who weren't married were going to get together and play a bunch of games and just have an amazing time, eat lots of food. And so
hint for all of you who are single feeling like it's the worst day ever. Here you go. Yes. Here, plan a party, have some fun.
Okay, I know this is a long story, but I promise it is so worth it. And so I am standing up front, introducing, oh, I'm Bethany, and this is our house, and, here's all the games we're going to play, because people would invite people, and it was a huge crowd. There would, maybe be 60 to 80 people there for this singles Valentine's Day party at, my family's house. And so I'm standing up front, getting ready to, lead all the games, and I've got, all my Valentine's Day festivities on, and then out of nowhere, one of the guys from the group comes up to me and interrupts and is like, Bethany, a rose for you on Valentine's Day. And I'm mortified, this is one of my guy friends. What is he doing? Why are they embarrassing me so much? Do you know this?
No.
And then as soon as he finishes, another one of my guy friends comes up, but now with 2 roses and is like, Bethany, roses for you on Valentine's Day.
Interrupting you.
Yeah. And it's back to back. And this happens it was 5 times in a row. And each time the bouquet, the roses got more and more. And I am just red in the face, what is happening? How did I not know? Who planned this? And then another one of my really good guy friends, he comes at the very end with a huge bouquet of red roses. And I'm like, okay, this has to be it. And there are people at my house who this is the first time I'm really they're from the singles group at church. So they're like, what is this weird girl in this weird party where all the men bring her roses? And then I think it's finally over. And I'm like, thanks, to my friend, so embarrassed. And then at the very end, Dave comes running around the corner with a big chocolate Hershey's Kiss, and he goes, Bethany, a kiss for you. And then he holds up a huge chocolate kiss, and then that was the end. And they all clapped, and they basically told me that I am always having fun and kind of making fun of everyone and kind of making the party a little bit embarrassing. So they wanted to totally embarrass me in front of everyone.
That is so good.
So some people thought it was absolutely hilarious, and I think some people were like, y'all are the weirdest people in the world. But the reason that was so great is because I was like, wow, Dave was a part of this, and he was planning this whole thing, and
and he gave you the kiss at the end.
He was the grand finale. So that is the most hilarious random story that is one of the most random things as a single that's ever happened to me.
That is hilarious. I cannot top that. And that was your best thing as a single. Okay.
Hey guys, okay.
I'm sure some of you are listening and you're like, yeah, I would totally take that. And some of you are like, never, ever, ever, ever.
When your crush runs up with a big Hershey's kiss, come on.
Best day ever.
Okay, you have to have something good.
Nothing like that. Nothing. No, I never had the horde of men rushing at me with roses.
But they were trolling me.
They were, totally. But in a fun, friendly way. Yeah, that's so great because you troll everyone at the party. So it was your time.
I make them all do awkward things. Yeah. So.
Yes. Okay, the only thing that's coming to mind, it's so simple, but I remember one Valentine's Day where a couple, I don't know if you were there, a couple just girlfriends, we all got together, we were all single, and instead of just kind of sitting around or I don't know, just being sad, we got super dressed up and went out to dinner. and went to like a fancy restaurant.
I don't remember this.
And did like a whole, you know, and it's like all the couples everywhere and it's like we're the group of single girls, but we didn't care. And it was just a super fun night, like a super fancy dinner. Yes. We got dressed up, did our makeup, our hair, and just like had a super great girls' night. So that's the end because
you stopped so suddenly.
Well, there's nothing else to it. So I don't know. Yeah, if you're single and you're like, oh, it's coming up, you know, like it's here. Just it can be something. You don't even have to go to a fancy restaurant. It could be something simple, even a picnic. Like invite girls over to your house, watch a movie. I just think there's so many intentional things we could do where we don't have to just like sit around and be like, oh, poor me, right? I mean, we can still have fun.
Okay, that's perfect into advice. Okay, so we're both married now, but we know like this is an episode for single and married women. So we're about to get some married stuff. But for the single women, what would be your best advice for how they can enjoy Valentine's Day as a single woman?
Yeah, I mean, Valentine's Day, it's like such a made-up holiday. In a sense, it's like all about romantic love. Yes. But I think, and that's beautiful, like God designed romantic love, the Book of Song of Solomon, like it's awesome, all that. But when you're single, I know it can have that feeling of like, I'm left out. Like this isn't for me because I don't have that romantic person. But the truth is, like, you could view it less of like a romantic love and more of like, you know, God is love. Like, how can I have fun today and show love, you know, just sisterly love to others? And I think planning something and hosting it, even a few small friends or going out to dinner or just something simple, watching a movie, something big like hosting a Valentine's party with all your friends, you know, all the singles, in your community. I think just viewing it less of like, if you have an attitude of who's going to love me, like, like soaking in the fact that God loves you more than any man ever could. I know that feels cheesy when you're like, but I just want the man. It's like, truly, you are more loved by your creator than any man will ever love you. And you could use it as a day to celebrate that incredible love that God loves you with, and then use that as a reminder to love others, knowing others might feel lonely, others might feel left out, forgotten, same thing you might be feeling. Invite them in, take that step, be a host, be a leader. And I think you'll find that as you pour out, you'll gain so much more than just sitting and looking within.
I mean, there's nothing worse than just like sitting around and hoping something happens and like nothing happens. Like plan something, do something.
Yes, you can be proactive. What about you? I mean, you had so many years of being really intentional.
Yeah, of course it was discouraging as the years went on, and I'm like, well, this could be my future forever, you know, but really trying to thrive. So hosting the singles parties was an amazing way to have something to work on, to look forward to. Like I said, there was from year to year, anywhere from 60 to 100 people. And it was always such a fun time. And there are actually multiple couples who met at the singles party and ended up getting married.
It's true.
Matchmaking is kind of my thing.
Oh.
So my advice would be like, exactly similar to yours. Don't sit around and wait for someone to come and like invite you to something, plan something, like be the one. Go after the day that you want, you know, like do a really fun, like plan a spa day with some friends, plan like a really fun activity. Even if it's just you and one other friend, plan something to where your mind isn't just like, great, here I am at home and everyone else is having fun and I'm miserable. Poor me. Like, that is the worst, you know? So plan something really fun. And I encourage you, if you can be with someone else, like a friend or a group of friends, definitely make that happen. Don't wait for the invite. Be the one to initiate and make it happen. I just think that makes Valentine's Day so much more fun. And a fun idea, something that you could do, because I know you go into the stores and you're like, okay, there's just like Valentine's Day stuff everywhere. My life is miserable.
Explosions of red.
Yeah. Something that we love to do around holidays is they call it like the ding dong ditch, you know, where it might be that you get some like, you know, teddy bears with like candy or whatever. And then you pick a few really good friends and you drive to their house and then you run and leave it on the patio and you knock really loud and then you run away and try to drive away before they can see you. And then it's a mystery, like who left this there?
Yes,
you know?
I love that.
And then you can reveal that you were the secret admirer or friend or whoever whenever you want. But that's really fun because then you don't have to go in the store all discouraged. You can be like, hey, like I can use this stuff. I can do fun stuff with this.
That's so good. Okay, we're going to transition to our married women. And if you're single, don't tune out because there still might be some ideas for you for your future. And you might still find this interesting. So don't tune out.
Let's start with you. You.
Okay. So we want to ask, hey, you're going to start with me, our worst Valentine's Day memory as a married woman.
Okay, we want you to share though. If you are married, I know it's kind of, but
it's kind of like sad.
No, but you got to be able to laugh about it. Don't share something that's still like a bitter point for you. You haven't even told your husband?
Yes, like, honey, did you listen to the podcast?
It's worst moment, worst Valentine's Day, but one you can laugh about now.
Okay.
You can laugh
I have it. And oh my goodness, this is going to expose my heart so bad.
Wait, do I know this one?
Yes. Okay, I think it was our first Valentine's Day for Zach and I. I think so. It's all blurring. Yeah. It's been a hot minute. But okay, it counts because even if we were like almost married, it was like right in that moment. Okay, so it was very early on. I think it was our first or second. And, I am so excited. It's like my man, and it's Valentine's. I have all these expectations, right? Like all these romantic ideas and like, what is he going to plan? What is he going to give me? And I have my things. Like I remember I made him a heart chocolate cake and with like strawberries and these little things that I'd been planning. And I remember just having so many expectations. And I think that can be really dangerous. Your first Valentine's. Wow. I've talked to so many married women who are like, their first one didn't turn out anything like they expected because we just can have these big expectations. Yes. So I had huge expectations and I'm imagining this super romantic night with reservations at our favorite restaurant, all this stuff. And my husband, who was really in the posture and heart of Christ, wanting to serve others.
Yo, this is the best. How come I keep forgetting about these?
To serve others and pour out to the community on Valentine's, because in his thought process, he was like, wow, we're newly married. This is like one of our first Valentine's. What better way to walk in the love of Christ than to serve others and pour out?
Such a good man.
Such a good man, such a great heart. My heart was not in that place of serving others. My heart was like, I'm going to have a romantic night with my man, end of story. And so he comes, to me like, okay, like Valentine's night, here we go. And so I'm like, woo, like getting dressed up, anticipating the plan. And he's like, so, I was just thinking about God's love for us and how Christ came to serve, not be served. And I was thinking we could use this day of love to celebrate the love of Christ by pouring out and serving others. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like trying to keep my smile on my face, but inside I'm like shocked, like what is about to happen? And he says, and this was like such an amazing heart. I did not have a good attitude about it. I'm confessing that publicly now. Yes. I did not have a good attitude. And he said, I thought that we could go to downtown and, I'm thinking, ooh, restaurant downtown. And he's like, and we could look for homeless people and we could go talk to them and share the gospel with them. And the room got quiet because I was shocked. And I just remember staring at him thinking, this is so godly and so Christ-like. And it's the last thing my heart wants to do right now. And I remember like having these freak out explosions on the inside of just like I didn't even know how to process it because it was so opposite of what I was imagining the night was going to be. And so I just kind of like, oh my goodness, let's do it. And so we did it and we went downtown and it was just awkward and hard and cold. And then at the end, he's like, so should we grab dinner? And I'm thinking, you didn't even get reservations.
Should we grab
Every restaurant is literally packed and we have no reservations. So then we spent the next hour trying to find a place that we could even get into. And so anyways, we laugh about it now and it's like really hilarious now. But on that day, it was not hilarious and it was not funny. And it was probably my worst Valentine's because I had such big expectations and my heart was not in a great place.
And all the single ladies are like, you had such a godly man and you didn't even appreciate
And I'm just like, what? So yeah, what about you?
Oh my goodness, that is such, okay, I remember that.
I know.
All these stories I'm forgetting, that makes me cry. It's so funny. And it just shows the need for communication, especially when you're married. Communication.
It's true. Communicate in advance. Like, so what are we both thinking? Yeah. Like, it's okay. It would have been good.
And, there's a way to do both. You could have had the really romantic night and the night of witnessing. And it's like, it could have both been great.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't, so I've been married 4 years. We got married in October. So how many Valentines was I?
Don't ask me to do it.
4? I don't know. Because depending on when you got married. So our first Valentine's Day, we didn't know about like how you have to make reservations like a million years in advance.
Oh.
And so we ended up at this really random restaurant and Dave just like regrets it always. He always talks about it like, that was the worst restaurant ever. And I'm like, well, it really wasn't that bad. But for him, he just like is like, he thinks it's terrible. But this is funny. Okay, this isn't the worst, but kind of like when you're newly-ish married, first year, 2 or 3, you kind of feel like it's the worst, and this has to do with you.
What?
Okay, so I have only been married for 4 years, and I don't even know how many Valentine's Days I've had, but 2 of those Valentine's Days, we've ended up at the same time, at the same restaurant with Kristen and Zach.
Wait, this has happened twice?
Twice. The first was Bliss.
I am so sorry.
Supper. So the first one, but it was hilarious because the first one at Bliss, both of us, we had no idea that our husbands or whoever made reservations for the same time.
Husbands, not whoever. Husbands.
I'm like, did we make husbands made reservations for the same restaurant at the same time. And we found out the day of that we were like getting dressed up for these romantic dinners and we were going to be like.
And there's no changing it then.
Yes. Okay. So the second one is hilarious because the second time it happened, I think it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
The only reservation y'all could get was at the same restaurant as us. And the people assured them, like, well, make sure you sit far apart. And they didn't. We were like, we could literally see them. So Kristen and Zach sent like these delicious, beautiful drinks our way, like on their tab to try to make
apologizing up. Like, we're so sorry.
What's so funny is looking back, I'm like, the first Valentine's Day, I was like, oh, like we're going to be at the same restaurant. Yes. How unromantic. And then this last time it happened, I was like, oh, that's funny. You know, like,
oh, really?
You loosen up, you know, like you don't care as much. But isn't that funny?
Oh, yes. I didn't even realize two of them that's happened.
It has happened for.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're almost out of time, but best Valentine's Day moment. Okay, we'll go quickly. Oh my goodness. Okay, you start this one. Could you have it?
Yes. I have it off the top of my head. So Valentine's Day, however many years ago, 2.5 years ago, whenever, I don't know, 3 years ago, whatever it happened. I can't remember. It was the one Valentine's Day where we didn't eat dinner with y'all. So that one, I was 9 months pregnant.
Oh, yes.
Dave and I went to this super nice steakhouse restaurant. We got this most delicious, amazing dinner. It was such a special time. And then we actually went to the grocery store to get our favorite ice cream afterward to take back. And we're going to have this super romantic evening together and it's going to be amazing. And as soon as we pulled up to our apartment, I went into full-on labor and had like intense contractions, and 7 hours later, my son, Davy Jr. was born. So that's a really amazing memory because he was our Valentine's Day baby. He was born on the 15th, but I went into labor literally the moment we pulled up. And we didn't even eat the ice cream, obviously, because I was like,
not in the mood for ice cream at that point. So, that's the sweetest. I mean, I don't have like a specific one that's standing out to me, but what I love the most is what we've done pretty much every year. And it's just like we get reservations way in advance now. Yes. And Zach will routinely like have flowers delivered to the restaurant ahead of time.
Yes.
So then we show up at the table and there's beautiful roses. And this is like the sweetest. This happened last year and like many years. And it's just like, I don't know, so special and different. And it's just the two of us. And now that we have our two boys, it's even more special. Like this past year, it's just like, it's so different because now it's not just the two of us, like always the two of us. We're having like this special moment, this date night, you know, someone's watching the kids and it's just the two of us going out. I just love that. Like the simple, beautiful dinner, obviously romantic flowers on the table. And then, you know, maybe grab some ice cream afterwards. Like that's kind of our go-to routine and it's just sweet and I love it.
Well, and when you don't get to do the dates as often as you used to when you have kids.
Date nights are not as easy anymore. So it's really special. It's like a date night. So special.
Okay, y'all, we want to hear from you, single or married. We want to know your answers to those questions. Like if you're single, worst and best moment, you know, Valentine's Day as a single and then married. Worst Valentine's Day, best Valentine's Day. You can leave all of those comments on our Instagram @GirlDefied. We want to hear from you.
I want to hear from you.
We just shared all of our embarrassing and hilarious and fun memories. So we want to hear from you. Hope you have an amazing Valentine's Day and week of love.
And again, if you have not read Love Defined and you are not quite married or you're married and you're like, I know I have a lot of single friends and I don't really know how to like encourage them in their singleness and God's design. Love Defined, embracing God's vision for lasting love and satisfying relationships would be such an encouragement for you. Go to girldefined.com/shop, grab a copy, get the ebook, listen to the audiobook, get it free from your library. We don't care. Just read it. This could be your gift to yourself for Valentine's Day. You will find it so encouraging. We love you guys so much and we will talk to y'all next week.